Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. You're listening to PHLY Postgame. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Let's get another one in. Woo! For a 1-0 shutout victory. Flyers over Red Wings tonight down in South Philly. Charlie O'Connor will be joining the show from the Wells Fargo Center a little later on tonight. But first, we have to talk about what was, the first 40 minutes of this game were not exactly the most exciting hockey I've ever watched. I don't think anyone would confuse it with that. But the Flyers played pretty well tonight. Again, they just keep finding ways to win. I wrote down since they opened the Wells Fargo Center. Now, obviously, this doesn't include the postseason. But I know the Flyers have had like a lot of success in Philly against the Red Wings since they opened the new building, in 96? And now I'm trying to find where I wrote it tonight. They came into the game. Damn it. I've lost it already. I really should have played this out. They've only won 3 times, Detroit has in Philly, since they've opened the building. Now, that's in the regular season. They did not add to that tonight. That's just kind of one of those weird things. Like, Detroit has been a good, relevant team for pretty much all of that time. Now, obviously, they swept Philly in the final in 97, so, I guess you can add 2 wins to that if you want to. I'm choosing to only look at the regular season. It's just one of those weird things that you get, oh yeah, Detroit, pretty good team. Every time they come into Philly, Philly beats them. They did again tonight. 1-0 the final score. So that's where we have to begin with the man between the pipes, number 33, Sam Ersson. Makes his 3rd straight start. Carter Hart still out sick. We're going to ask Charlie about that a little later because I saw some quotes today that were, he's got something going on and they got it all figured out and he thinks he's going to be better off now. But I didn't hear much expansion on that. Obviously, Travis Sanheim also sick, so maybe there's just something going through the locker room. I know at least through the first 2 periods. I haven't looked at the final time on ice, but I bet you it's still pretty even. John Tortorella was really rolling 4 lines, 3 D pairs, and just kind of keeping everything pretty evenly distributed, not leaning on anyone too heavily. So I wonder if the team is just we've been traveling a lot. It's weird weather, obviously, this time of year, everything going around. Maybe the whole team's just kind of feeling it a little bit, but their 3rd period effort, especially in the defensive zone, especially those last 3 minutes when Detroit had their net empty, I thought was really, really strong. Happy with what I saw tonight. But now after all that rambling, let's get back to Sam Ersson. Stopped 34 of 34 shots tonight, which when I saw the final count, I was blown away by, simply because Detroit did not generate much of anything all night. They just updated it. So 33 of 33. He was able to stop tonight, both team with 33 shots on net. But through the first 2 periods, Detroit had 18 shots. In the 3rd period, they had 15. So they turned it up. They were really trying to break that shutout. And with the pressure on, Ersson, in his 3rd straight start, shuts them out, shuts them down, made some clutch saves at the end. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of chances, just a lot of chaos going on in front of him. Kept his composure, kept his cool, and we'll get Charlie's 3 stars a little bit later. I guarantee I can't predict tonight because Rasmus Ristolainen would be one of my 3 stars. Now, maybe he makes Charlie's list and surprises me. I would be shocked, though. But Ersson, obviously, he would be my number 1. And these last 3 starts, it feels like he's gained confidence and actually gotten stronger as he's played more. He stopped 19 of 22 in Nashville. The overtime loss and the puck he didn't squeeze. We all know how that went. And that's a killer. He's starting to get a little bit more time. He had the great month of November, and to just kind of take a loss like that. Now he stood up in front of the media and everything, said, "Hey, this one's on me. I absolutely no reason I didn't freeze that, but shit happens, and yeah, I'll take the blame." And since then, He made a 27. He stopped 30. He stopped 27 of 30 and 2 of 3 in the shootout against the Caps on Thursday, and tonight 33 of 33. Since that rough ending to the Nashville game, that's 61 of 64 for a 953 save percentage. So in case you were wondering what this kid's mental makeup was, I'm not. I'm not all that concerned. And there's this phrase that Scott Van Pelt used to say. I used to watch SVP and Russillo every day because I didn't have that much going on. 8 years ago, whatever the hell it was when those two were on ESPN every day. How good is your good? You might have a clunker in there. You always, in Alabama, those random Alabama losses. They just drop one every 2 years, and it's all right, yeah, that stunk, but they've dominated everyone all year. Last week they dropped 90. How good is your good? When you're on your game, what is your ceiling? And it's an interesting conversation with Ersson. He's 24 years old. Tonight was start number 21 in his career, and he posted his 3rd career shutout. It took Carter Hart 101 starts to post 3 regular season shutouts. He's got 6 through 210 career starts. Ersson is halfway there. He made his NHL debut December 23rd of last year. And that wasn't even a start, I don't believe. I think he came in relief. Yes, obviously needs to work on the consistency. He's had a few really bad starts, even statistically, the Hockey Reference really bad start this year. A start with a save percentage, I think, below 85, 850. And he's had a few of those. The tough goal he lets up to lose the Nashville game, like I said. But, man, when he's on, the other team doesn't score, and that really says something about what this kid's ceiling can be. This is not to I compare the two just to not to bash Carter Hart in any way. Carter Hart has proven himself to be, at the very least, a solid number 1 NHL goalie. You can win with Carter Hart, not a doubt in my mind. If you put Carter Hart on a cup contending team, their chances of winning the cup would go up in my mind. Not a doubt. I do wonder if he has upper best in the league, regular Vezina contender potential. Maybe he's just a solid guy you can win with is who wins the cup every year. You need a goalie to play at an elite level, but you don't need an elite goalie. You just kind of need to cross your fingers and fucking get lucky for a couple of weeks in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And a Hart absolutely is going to have a good career, and he's a number 1. But just looking at what Ersson may be potentially growing into, I'm very excited to see him get some more time. Obviously, we want to. You don't want Carter Hart to be out sick. You don't want him to be dealing with injuries or 3 times this month he's been sick. Okay, that's just kind of tough to deal with. But it creates an opportunity for Samuel Ersson, and damn if he hasn't impressed in that opportunity. I'm really, really looking forward to checking out what we get out of this guy as the season moves along here. And yes, I'm absolutely vamping so I can get to the game time read, because the Flyers only have 1 home game left this month, and if you want to go check it out, I thought tonight they were away. I thought they'd already gone. I've been sitting here, sitting here waiting for the game to get started. I'm where the hell's Charlie? Just looking around, okay, all right, game's starting. He's not here. It's kind of odd, little worried. And then I'm oh fuck, they're home. It did not take me this long to realize they were home tonight, but it's one of their last home games of the month. If you want to catch I think the last one is next week. They're at Jersey, then they're back home, and then they go on the Disney on Ice trip, I believe. So if you want to see this team at home playing as well as they have now, Was this a 7-game point streak, I believe they're on? You got to use the Game Time app, baby. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And I've talked to you about this before, but like my wife and I, like, we don't really exchange like Christmas gifts. Like, we'd rather, we just buy shit. When we want something, we just buy it, like, oh yeah, I want, yeah, just go get it. We have a joint checking account. Here's the gift I bought you with our money. Like, we just buy stuff when we want it. But experiences are what we're all about. I would much rather like get like some sort of stuff. Nah, I would much rather get tickets, go do something, like have a night with the Game Time app, whether you're planning at the last minute or planning well in advance. Game Time's there for you. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Yeah, I'm very excited for, like, he's not there yet. I posted the shutout. He's 2-0-1 in his last 3. He's been very strong since the start of November. But, like, Ersson's not there yet. But seeing what level he's at, and he's still learning, like, he's still learning the North American game. He's still learning to play in the NHL. He's still a rookie. This was start number 21 in his career tonight, Like, it's very exciting to see where this thing could potentially go. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Now, I mentioned the reason he's in tonight is Carter Hart out sick, as was number 1 defenseman Travis Sanheim, and he's been getting worn down a lot. I can see maybe if there's something going on in the locker room, and like the team's already told us, they're trying to manage his minutes. Like, something going on in the locker room. He's getting a little worn down. They're just trying to get him to the Christmas break, back his minutes up a little bit. Now he's coming in, like, just not feeling well today. I get it. But that presents opportunity for somebody else, and that somebody else tonight was Cam York. Cam York scores the only goal of the night, carries the puck in down low, centers it, bounces off a Red Wing in front. It's a little like, oh, did that hit Couturier? No, actually, it never made it there. So Cam York gets credited with the goal, but he made some other plays tonight. He stood out a ton in the first period. Looked like he definitely made a point to be the aggressive, assertive, offensive, risk-taking, like the dude that we believe John Tortorella has been asking him to be since last year, I think, is what we saw out of Cam York. It looked like he really made a point to be that in the first period tonight. Had another awesome opportunity. I think it was Alex Lyon still in the game when he made a great save. Otherwise, Cam York might have had the only 2 goals of this game, which would have been wild in Sanheim's absence. And this is something I want to talk more about with Charlie, because this is just shit I think of when I'm watching the game. But we've heard that Sanheim's been so aggressive all year, and like he's really taken to Tortorella being like, go, attack, and that's kind of left Cam York to be the more defensively responsible one. Maybe he's a little apprehensive to take a risk because he's not quite sure if Sanheim is also going to be taking a risk. And now all of a sudden, if there's a turnover, it's a 2-on-0. We know that the forwards have had, there's spots here and there not covering for the defensemen when the defensemen move up in the offensive zone. So you're just a little nervous, man. Like, I don't want to get blamed and then be the one who's, getting called out in film for not being where I'm supposed to be. So York's been maybe a little apprehensive to attack the way John Tortorella wants him to. I wonder, although they've been an effective pair all season, I wonder if the best move is to split up Sanheim and York. Like, you can get then the best of both worlds. Both will be the attacking guy. Like, both will be, like, they will be able to be more assertive away from each other. Now, the problem with that is, and maybe this is something we see later in the season, we all believe they're going to move out a few defensemen. The problem is, like, all right, so you move him to the second pair, and he's paired with Sean Walker, who's having all the success he's having this year because he's playing in Tortorella's attack aggressive system. So it's like he's not. It's basically like you're solving one problem, but not really. You're just like scratch out Sanheim's name and write in Walker, and it's the same issue. You could move Walker up to play with Sanheim, but it's like, all right, Sanheim's having all this success on the right side. Are we going to have both of our top pair defensemen playing on their offside, a lefty on the right and a righty on the left? Like, that would be weird. So I don't know if there's like a perfect solution to this. I don't even know if it's actually a problem. But just watching the way the game unfolded tonight, it was like, this is the Cam York we've wanted to see. And it's not as if this was the breakout performance of Cam York. I think he's been building up, and tonight without Travis Sanheim, without that, having to look like, all right, well, what's that dude? What are you doing, bro? Okay, I can go. Like, without having to worry about what his partner's doing, obviously Rasmus Ristolainen, not Travis Sanheim, perhaps there's an opportunity there, but I'm just happy with what I'm seeing out of this team overall, JP. Like, they just keep winning games, winning them in different ways. It was they score one goal tonight. They win 1-0. They don't blow the lead. They create a situation where Detroit feels it's best to pull the goalie with 3 minutes left. Another thing it's a 1-goal game. It's not like they're down 2 or like, they put teams in positions to not be comfortable. The teams have to play outside of their comfort zone against the Flyers, and that's the best thing I can say about them is on more nights than not, they are able to impose their will, impose their style of play on opponents, and that is a success for John Tortorella. Whether you're like, no, they need to lose and tank, or you're happy with what you're seeing, the fact that they're doing what they're doing is good coaching. It simply is. And I think it's a really good sign that this team's doing what it's doing without the high-end talent. Tonight they're a little shorthanded. Like, yeah, we all like Sam Ersson, but they don't have their number one goalie. They don't have their number one defenseman, and they still go out and beat a Red Wings team that's also beaten up. I don't want to gloss over the fact that, like, JT Compher's been out. He was in tonight, but they showed the replay of the Dylan Larkin situation, so he's out. And, of course, David Perron is suspended from that because he lost his mind and cross-checked someone who had nothing to do with Larkin getting hurt, cross-checked him in the head. Like, so he's suspended 6 games. And it's like they have like 3 or 4 guys on IR. They have someone suspended. Alex Lyon gets hurt tonight. Their backup goalie, so now their starter on his night off has to come in. And he was tremendous. Ville Husso, I mean, without Husso, this game is 3-4-0. He was really, really good in relief. And Lyon was excellent before he got hurt. Gives up the 1 goal on a deflection off, friendly fire. It's an own goal in front of him, and made big stop on Owen Tippett. I think that was the play he got hurt on, was the Tippett stop. And another thing I really like about this team is, like we've said so many times when you and I are hosting together, JP, like, I look for different signs of how they're different from years past. And this is a great... they played really well and they lost 2-0 game. Like, they got goalied and it was 2 guys. Like, 2 guys got them and they got goalied somehow. They got goalied and they didn't tonight. Now, they only score 1, but it was enough because their team defense and their goaltending stepped up to the point that they were able to put this game away. So just another thing I'm happy to see with this team. I do want to know, like I said, like, see some really evenly distributed ice time. I want to know if maybe more than just Sanheim and Hart are sick and there's some guys kind of just getting through it right now. The schedule that they're on, the traveling they had to do. So I'm interested to hear about that. Now let's get to one of my stars of the game. I guess he would have to be star number 3. If I was doing it, it would be Ersson York, and Risto. So let's see what Charlie does. I would go Ersson, York, and Risto. Torts equals Herb Brooks. I honestly think I don't know, because there's a lot of, we always focus on, listen, Tortorella has this reputation, but actually his players like him. There are a lot of guys who are like, no, Torts is an asshole, Herb Brooks is thought of as this, on the Torts-Babcock scale, a lot closer to Tortorella, but, a lot of players, if they had dealings with Herb Brooks, they're like, oh no, he participated in that mental warfare that drives players insane. And the whole Eruzione thing, they did it in the movie. He brings a guy in off the street just to scare everyone. And then, oh no, I did it to bring the team together. And yeah, that's kind of a dickhead move though, right?
You gotta love this city because it's the same thing that we talked about Thursday. We came in the post-game show. Everybody was ready to buy the Bobby Brink jersey. So whoever is hot at the moment, everyone's going crazy for. So right now, John Tortorella, we're putting him on the pedestal. But no, John, listen, he's created something really good here so far in the second season with the Flyers. And one thing that I want to allude to is that one thing that Keith and Danny always brought up was coming into the Wells Fargo Center, that scare that teams used to have, it was gone. I think now they're gaining back that respect. Teams know when you come into the Wells Fargo Center now, or you're going to play against the Flyers now, it's going to be a tough outing. And that's what I'm happy to see, is that it is competitive out there. And now they're winning too, which is the crazy part about it. And this was a tough win here tonight. Gotta love it, man.
It was. Now, Detroit, like I said, they're banged up.
Yeah.
But they started the season out really well. They have banked some points. And they were, at least prior to tonight, holding a playoff spot. It looks like things have updated. And it looks as if they still have the first wild card spot. So they're still there. A very similar record to the Flyers. Flyers are now 17-10-3.
The chat just let us know that the Islanders did lose tonight. So
Islanders lost. Yeah, there you go. So the Flyers are a point up. They actually have the second spot in the Metro right now, while the Islanders are holding down the third. And then the Red Wings are there in that first wild card spot. But Detroit really played strong to start the season, and it seems like it's caught up with them the last 4 or 5 games just because they're so shorthanded and they're working in Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane was at one point one of the best players in hockey, probably still trying to get his legs under him. And there's a lot of question of what he's really even going to be, because that hip resurfacing surgery, the history of players coming back from it is not great. Nicholas Backstrom in the offseason was oh no, I feel the best I've felt in years. And a month into the season, he was yeah. Probably just going to go home. Yeah, see ya. So, Patrick Kane working his way in. But the Red Wings are a good team. And I like your point about winning at home, JP, because for all the success the Flyers have had this year, so much of it has come on the road. It's just when they do throw in the weird clunker or they have the hard luck game, it just seems so often it was happening at home. And I think that really played into. Now, listen, when I say they're in the bottom 5 in attendance, I checked this last week. And yes, they were in the bottom 5, but that's over 91. They were 91.4% or something. It's not as if the building's empty. They're selling the vast majority of their tickets. 9 out of every 10 tickets are sold, but it's the Wells Fargo Center. I remember a time when the Flyers went 22-60 and we were named the most intimidating fans in sports, or in the NHL. That has dissipated and gotten us to the point where we are now. The fact that they're starting to have some success at home, the people who are going to games, suddenly it's going to be hey, anyone want to go to the game tonight in the group chat? And you're not going to get crickets. People might actually want to go, and maybe that atmosphere will start coming back. They are 8-6-1 at home this season. So obviously recent success. They were, despite the good overall record, not great at home to start this season, but that part's starting to come around a little bit too. And I hope it translates to arena atmosphere. Russ Joy from Crossing Broad tonight tweeted out, it seems as if there's more people in the building than there were Thursday. Mm-hmm. However, it seems quieter. Now, the first 40 minutes of that game and the lack of action could quite possibly explain that a little bit, but the team is still in the process of earning everyone's trust back. I know I've said I'm buying in. I'm throwing up my hands saying nothing makes sense. I'm along for the ride. I'm on the bandwagon. But a lot of people still are like, dude, it's December. They got to earn my trust back still. It's not going to take a couple of good weeks. It's more than that. I think it might start to come as they win a little bit more at home. So I do appreciate that point.
And we've seen in Philadelphia, when you got a good team, we've seen the playoff atmospheres in CBP. We want to bring that back to Wells Fargo Center.
No, it happens like that, man. Like, I grew up going to empty Phillies games, and that's one of the best atmospheres around now, you know? Like, listen, I know our reputation of being Eagles fans is second to none. I also remember times in my youth when their games were blacked out because they were not sold out. I remember there being games where Jeffrey Lurie would like make a deal with like a local dealership or something to like buy all the tickets so that like the Christmas game could be on TV and shit like that. Like it comes and goes, but once you get it back, it's absolutely freaking amazing. All right, I started like 5 minutes ago saying we're going to talk about Rasmus Ristolainen. He was absolutely burying dudes tonight. Grabbing that guys in scrums. I talked about imposing your will, making teams uncomfortable. That was playoff Risto tonight. That's the playoff Risto we're looking for. Oh, the Leafs. That's what it ended up being. Leafs 7, Pens 0.
That's insane.
The Penguins, part of me wants to, I mean, obviously we're all going to go LOL Pens, but I have been saying all along, the NHL is going to give the Pittsburgh Penguins the first overall pick. Like, they just got Connor Bedard in Chicago. Yeah, they're absolutely going to get Macklin Celebrini in Pittsburgh. Like, there's not a fucking doubt in my mind that this is... I wish you could bet on the draft lottery right now. You can't bet on, like, anything for NHL. I was looking for Selke odds today. I couldn't find them anywhere, like on any of the sports books. All the other awards are up, and like the Selke is the most subjective. Like, who the hell? No one at the sports book knows how to make odds for that, so they're just not going to list it. I get it, but I was just like, if I could bet on the goddamn draft lottery right now, Penguins win, like 100%. I believe that is going to happen. So while it's always fun to celebrate the demise of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know how this is going to end. I mean, this is a team that went, what was it, Fleury, Malkin, Crosby, Jordan Stahl, 4 straight years. I believe that was the order. They didn't pick below second 4 years in a row. Like, is that Charlie? I thought I heard a bloop.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
All right. I thought I heard a noise.
He's still in towards his dog pound. No,
he's still in towards. All right. So let's get to Risto while I started this conversation 10 minutes ago. Burying guys. I said on Thursday, I asked Charlie, like, is this team physical enough? Because I don't feel like they are, considering they've made that a big part of their identity. Like keeping Scott Lawton around, bringing in Nick Delorier, doubling down, bringing in Garnett Hathaway, Rasmus Ristolainen. Like, they want to be one of the more physical teams. And Charlie was like, this just kind of seems like an issue you have with the league. And absolutely it is. The league, when you watch it on a night-to-night basis, is just not physical enough for my liking. That said, I understand. Because the game is so fast and these players are so good. If they played every night like it was the playoffs, there would be no playoffs because everyone would be dead. So I understand completely. But when you watch every game, you see it. It's just not physical the way it used to be. But Rasmus Ristolainen stepped up in a big way. So maybe he heard me say that on Thursday and started burying guys. Now let's see if Charlie O'Connor can hear me. Let's bring him in. Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter. It is Charlie O'Connor down at the Wells Fargo Center. What's going on tonight, Chuck?
Hey, Bill. How you doing?
Excellent. We have you. This is quite a streak we're on, and quite a streak our Philadelphia Flyers are on. Now second in the Metro, starting to win a little bit at home. So let's see where we want to start tonight. I guess it's with Samuel Ersson getting his 3rd straight start, 3rd career shutout. He is halfway to Carter Hart's career shutout total in just 22 starts. Just something I've been thinking about. But since he gave up that tough luck goal in Nashville, he's got a .953 save percentage. That's not even including the 2 saves in the shootout. What are you seeing with Samuel Ersson as he's gaining confidence? It seems to me.
I think to me, what's most noticeable is even just his confidence. It's the confidence that the team has in him. This is a stretch where he's played 3 straight games because Carter Hart's been sick, and it's a situation where Carter Hart's the clear number one, and the team could easily have lost its way knowing they don't have their clear number one. We remember how poor Sam Ersson was at the start of the season in terms of his first few starts. They could have lost confidence in Sam Ersson. Instead, really since the start of November, Ersson's been great. And, tonight I think it was a combination of him and the skaters. I do think that, especially in the first 2 periods, although it was mostly the defense, I think Ersson made the saves he had to make. But I thought a lot of it, aside from maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game when the defense on both sides was pretty lax, I thought the Flyers did a really good job of keeping them out of the dangerous areas. They only got 9 high danger chances the entire game. The Red Wings did. But to Ersson's credit, he made all the saves. His rebound control was strong. He wasn't making, medium situations into high danger situations, which goalies can do sometimes if their positioning is a little bit off. He just looked calm. He looked in control. And I think the rest of the team fed off him because this was a 1-goal game pretty much the entire game. They could have, if they would have felt like Ersson couldn't handle it, maybe you would have seen them break out of structure a little bit more. Maybe they would have felt like we need 3 goals to win this game. We don't just need 1. Instead, they adhered to what they were doing. They kept playing in structure. They weren't taking unnecessary risks because they trusted that their goalie, if necessary, could shut out the other team. And that's exactly what it did.
No, and I really thought he wasn't tested a ton, but we did have they had 18 shots in the first 2 periods and then 15 in the third. Detroit really turned it on at the end. Obviously, They played the last 3 minutes with the net empty, and I want to get your take on that in a couple of minutes. But just I really, really appreciated what I saw out of Ersson when the game was breaking down in front of him, chaos near the end, and he was able to keep his composure. And that to me is that's the sign of a guy who's maturing really. He could have easily lost his net and all of a sudden been out of position and boom, tie game. And what can you do? He gave up 1. It's not a bad game, but he needed to give up 0 tonight, and he did. So I was really impressed with that. Someone else I was impressed by is someone we spent a lot of time talking about this season so far, Charlie, Cam York. I thought it was very obvious in the first period without Sanheim as the aggressor of the pairing. Sanheim out sick tonight. He made a point to be the guy we believe the coach is begging him to be the aggressive attack defenseman that we've seen Sanheim and Walker be to this point this season. What did you think of Cam York's game without Travis Sanheim?
Yeah, I thought he was great. I thought he was the driver of that pair, and that's not to minimize the contributions of Rasmus Ristolainen, who I thought also had a really good game. But that was kind of the angle that I took in my post-game questions, both to Cam York, who we interviewed, and John Tortorella. I asked Cam York if, he had consciously tried to be more aggressive in the absence of Travis Sanheim. He said he didn't. He said he just played his game. He was just kind of feeling it. But he obviously was very happy with the way he played. And then I asked John Tortorella the same thing. And Tort said, look, I don't know if he did it because Sanheim was out. I don't know what the reason was, but I agree that he looked more aggressive, that, he was taking pucks to the net. He made a point that a couple weeks ago there was a play. I think he's talking about not the goal that York scored, but there was another one where he almost scored, where he took the puck all the way down end to end. And Tortorella basically said that a couple weeks ago York had the opportunity to do something similar, and instead he just flipped the puck short side and then skated back around the net. And Tortorella said the fact that this time he took it all the way through the crease and tried to beat the goalie back to the far post, that just shows that he's starting to feel it a little bit more. And he's starting to show the aggressiveness that I think the coaching staff has wanted from him dating back to last season. But I thought Cam York was fantastic. I think the top pair in this game for the Flyers, the York Ristolainen pairing, I think it kind of carried the Flyers in this game. If you go to the expected goal shares of 5-on-5, The second pair, which usually is great, the Steeler Walker pair was underwater. It was under 50% expected goal share, and so was the Stahl Zamula pair. Whereas the Ristolainen York pair was easily over 65%. So I think when they were on the ice, obviously that they were on the ice for the goal because Cam Muir scored it. But when they were on the ice, that's when the Flyers best controlled play. And given the fact that they were getting the most minutes, it added up to overall solid territorial play and a 1-0 win.
Now, there's just something I'm thinking about. Maybe it wasn't a conscious decision on Cam York's part. Like, Travis is out tonight. Now I can really go for it. But there might be just something to, like, I don't have to, like, you kind of know where Ristolainen's going to be a little bit more than Travis Sanheim. And that's, like, Sanheim by design. That's what they're asking him to do.
Yeah.
Without the fear of like, I'm not sure if I should take a risk because I know he's going to take a risk. We got another level of Cam York, I thought, tonight. Do you think maybe this York-Risto pair is worth sticking with just to see if we can maybe get, like, aggressive Sanheim on the top pair and aggressive York on the second pair? Is that something you think maybe they're interested in? I know obviously it creates like the Walker situation and the joke we've done, like, oh, is our top pair going to be 2 offside defensemen? Like, I realize it might create a logistical issue, but do you think it's a consideration?
I mean, I'm sure they'll consider it because this pair was really good tonight. But I do think that there's an element here of who plays with Sanheim. I guess either you move Walker up, and then if you want to keep, as you said, if you want to keep Sanheim on the right, you'd have to have both players playing their offsides, which would be seemingly ridiculous. Or you would move Sealer up, but in that case, then Sean Walker, who's been great all year, is suddenly on your third pair. And I don't think they want to go that route. So I don't think it's ultimately going to be something they will do once Travis Sanheim is feeling better, but not because they're disappointed with the way the pair played. I think it's just because of the reality of the way the roster is shaped. But speaking to that York Ristolainen pair, I thought York said something interesting after the game about the duo because this is the first time they've played together this season. Obviously, because York has almost exclusively been with Travis Sanheim on the top pair. They did play together a bit last season, and York said the one thing about Ristolainen that is helpful is that he's just a very predictable player, that you know where he's going to be, you know what he does, you know who he is. And, Sanheim, I think, and I don't think that's a shot at Travis Sanheim. I think, honestly, one of the best parts of Travis Sanheim's game this year has been his unpredictability. It's been the fact that he makes plays. Rasmus Ristolainen, and especially the defenseman that John Tortorella and Brad Shaw have turned him into over the last year and a half, it's not a guy who makes plays. He just does his job. He's very much settled in to this defensive defenseman role, which, I mean, while it's probably not worth $5.1 million a year, it's certainly better than what he was in Buffalo, which was an active drag on the team's results. So, he might be overpaid, but he's clearly a quality player in this role. And in doing that, he's turned himself into a guy who can be a good partner for a Cam York, because Cam York can say, Risto's got the D zone down, he's got the puck battles down, he's going to be physical, he's going to make the opposing forwards look over their shoulder a little bit, but I can make the plays, and I don't need to worry about covering for him most of the time because he's just going to do his Risto things, and I know exactly what that is, and then I can build off of that myself.
Well, I am. We'll get your 3 stars at the end of the segment, Charlie. But since we're talking about Rasmus Ristolainen, he would make my list. Just putting that out there because on Thursday I asked you. Well, I basically said I just don't think this team is physical enough. Like with certain players that they've made a point to bring in or keep around, I think they want physicality to be a bit more of their identity than league average. I realize my issue is just with the way the game is played. Yes, I know. But Rasmus Ristolainen must have heard me, bud, because he was fucking burying guys tonight. I mean, just dropping the hammer everywhere he could, pulling people out by their jerseys and scrums, putting his shoulder into guys. I was very happy with the game he played, and it makes me kind of just want to see more of this pair. Now, again, I realize it could create logistical issues, but was this a breakout game for Risto, or maybe just he's finally really starting to find his game after missing the first month? What did you think of Risto tonight and like where he's going?
I mean, I thought he was really good tonight, but I think he's been pretty good all year. I really think that, since maybe the first 2 months of last season, like the first 2 months of last season, I thought he missed the first couple games, came in and was horrendous. And John Tortorella said that he thought Ristolainen was a total mess when he came in here and watched him play his first few games. And then they worked on it, and they worked on basically trying to coach the bad habits out of his game. And I think they've so far it looks like, because my big thing was last year he improved, but I needed to see him keep it up. I needed to see him not regress back into those bad habits because, yes, he had a good year last year. And I wrote extensively about the fact that he had a good year last year. And I was very impressed that, he turned from a defensive liability through the entirety of his career into a legitimately really good defensive by the numbers last season. But the fact of the matter is that, 7, 8 seasons is a much larger sample than one season. And he was going to have to do it another year to prove to me that he'd actually made a sustainable change to his game and to his results. Well, so far this year, he looks like the same guy from December on through the end of the year last season. He just looks like this is who he is now. And he is basically, I think I made this comparison last season, he is basically bigger, stronger in his prime Justin Braun. Like that's who he is. And Justin Braun was a number 4 defenseman in his prime for a really good San Jose Sharks team. And I think this Ristolainen can be that. Is that guy worth $5.1 million a year? Probably not, unless you're giving, another like $1 million boost for the intangible physical value of having that intimidation factor and the looking over your shoulder thing about being tough to play against. And hey, maybe the hockey men aren't wrong. Maybe that is worth an extra mil on a contract. But at the very least, it's not a contract you look at and you say, oh my God, this guy actively makes the team worse when he's on the ice, and we're paying him $5 million a year to make the team actively worse. He's not that guy anymore. He makes the team better, especially defensively when he's out there. And credit to him. He said after the game today, and it was a really good quote. Actually, I tweeted it out. He said that he wishes he had John Tortorella as his coach when he was 18 years old, because he just feels like Tortorella has helped him take major strides in his game and his style of play. And I think he's 100% right. I think this is a new Rasmus Ristolainen. Tonight, I think just proved that last year was no fluke, that this is who he is now.
I guess hearing this, we're having so much like kumbaya going on right now. Like Cam Atkinson has the quotes about the locker room yesterday. So many people are, really taking their game to another level under John Tortorella's coaching. I know we get a lot of like, oh, the team sticking together. Like we hear that about every team all the time. And I always think of it the way we used to talk about captains. Well, who's a good captain? The captains of winning teams. Who's a bad captain? The captains of bad teams. Like, yeah, they're winning right now, so the vibes are good. But you've been around this team a lot over the last few years. Have we seen the ebbs and flows, the roller coaster ride that has been Flyers hockey? Are the vibes noticeably different from your perspective?
I mean, yeah, they're very clearly better. I definitely get the sense that the veterans that are still here, guys like Sean Couturier, guys like Cam Atkinson, guys like Mark Stahl, I'll be doing an interview that isn't even related to those guys. I'll be doing an interview with Joel Farabee. I'll be doing an interview, talking to Igor Zamola, and they'll bring up one of those guys that, one of them, made a point to give them advice or to say something to them at a key time that made them feel better about their game or help them turn things around. So in that sense, it does seem like they kept and or brought in the right veterans to help the young players through their inevitable struggles. Is this unique in the sense that the team has never been this close? Like, no, I don't think that's true. Like, they're definitely happier than they were the last couple of years. But I do think that a lot of people forget, because look, people on social media are excited about the team. They have every right to be. They're winning a lot of games. They're doing well. They're exceeding expectations. But like 2019, 2020 wasn't that long ago. And that team, I mean, I covered that team. That was 3-4 years ago. And that team, top to bottom, they swore up and down that this is the closest team I've ever been on. The vibes are so great. We have so much fun. Everybody's so close. And I don't think they were lying. I think that team was very close. And you saw it in the results. They played really well. I just caution people from thinking that like just because the vibes are good now, that they will stay good forever. Because as we saw with that team, I mean, granted, and this messed with a lot of people's vibes, post pandemic, they were never the same. They came back and it seemed like they were all still friends for the most part. You know, maybe there were a couple exceptions here and there, but those vibes did not translate to good hockey. In fact, they translated to god awful hockey. So I do agree the vibes are good. I do agree that this team is playing for each other, that they're close, that guys are looking out for each other, and that's great. But I'm not necessarily convinced that that is, you know, going to solve everything and that is going to last forever.
No, and yeah, I mean, we've. Someone actually brought this up on Twitter today and like tagged me because, or maybe it was yesterday, but like I keep remembering hearing that the locker room, like the team was tight and everyone's friends. And I was like, well, maybe they fucking shouldn't be because, like, why isn't everyone mad at each other? Like, why aren't Giroux and Voracek like, hey, you assholes, you want to help us out over here? Like, you know, Sean Couturier is, oh, yeah, well, I do everything. If someone else could do something, that would be really nice. Like, maybe they shouldn't have been so tight. Maybe there should have been a little bit, but things are going well right now. At the beginning of that answer, you mentioned Joel Farabee. We've made a lot of Joel Farabee's potential power play time, and he was back out there tonight. I think he got a minute 45 total of power play time tonight, so that's a lot more than zero. He was out there with the second unit, but I want to go back to Tortorella's comments from the other night because we don't have a regular show until, like, I don't know when, Charlie. So I'm just going to ask you about this. Tortorella saying, like, you know, he just keeps his mouth shut and he plays, and I'm sure he does want more ice time, but basically, like, he's a professional and he's doing what I'm asking him to do. Now, knowing what we know about Tortorella and what we've heard about him, is he basically telling Farabee to challenge him? Like, I don't want to say he wants him to demand, but if Joel were to like go into there and do whatever the tier down from demand is of more ice time, more opportunity, do you think Tortorella would be more interested in giving it to him? Like maybe he's trying to break that, like the cool, calm demeanor guys a little bit.
No, I don't think so. I think there's
Okay.
probably elements to Farabee's game that Torts still is holding a little bit of a grudge against from last year. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm actually writing a piece on Joel Farabee. I will probably look to finish it when I get home, when I'm done this podcast, when I get home tonight. So look for that on Sunday. Look, I don't know why Joel Farabee isn't getting more ice time. I was happy to see him on the power play. That said, I don't necessarily think being on the power play is going to solve anything because this power play never scores any, like ever. So cool, he'll get more minutes, but are they even worthwhile minutes? Like I personally, my thing with Joel Farabee is like I don't know why he's getting fewer minutes than Scott Lawton and Cam Atkinson when he's very clearly better than both of them. Like those are the guys I'm looking at, and I'm saying to myself like maybe flip those guys. Move and granted, Scott Lawton was on the fourth line tonight, so clearly they see what we're seeing. But those are more the things I'm looking for. Yeah, Joel Farabee should be on the power play because Scott Lawton right now should not be on the power play. But I want to see them lean on Joel Farabee even more at 5-on-5 because honestly, like aside from Sean Couturier, who has been their best 5-on-5 player, unsurprisingly, he's been their best 5-on-5 player for probably over a decade. I think Joel Farabee has a strong case to be considered their second best 5-on-5 player right now, and the fact that he is getting something closer to third line minutes at the moment is a little concerning. I just have a feeling that, you know, Torts still has some doubts on Farabee. He likes him, but he wants to see some things, and maybe he's a little harder on someone like Joel Farabee than he is on, say, someone like Tyson Forster. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's driving it, but the idea of that he needs to go into the room and demand ice time. I don't think Torts will respond super well to that. I do know that I talked to Joel Farabee on Friday for this piece I'm working on, and I talked to Tortorella about it, about the benching when he was benched 2 shifts into the game against the Devils. I think that was 2 weeks ago at this point. That there have been times in the past where Joel Farabee got annoyed with his treatment from John Tortorella, and he went into the room and talked to John Tortorella about it and confronted Tortorella. Tortorella and Farabee both said that this was not a situation where Farabee went and talked to Tortorella, because Tortorella theorized Joel knew exactly why he got benched. It wasn't like we needed to talk about it. It was clear. Torts was like, he probably disagreed with me that I was going to bench him for the rest of the game, but he knew why I did it and he understood it. He didn't agree with the punishment, but he knew that there was going to be some sort of punishment for that mistake. So I don't think this is a situation where Torts is waiting for Farabee to basically scream in his face. I think they've done that before, at least reading between the lines. It seems like they've had those types of confrontations in the past. And I think if anything, Torts was almost impressed that Farabee didn't in this situation, because it showed Torts that Farabee understood that like he was in the wrong in this one, and we're going to turn the page as quickly as possible because he messed up, he got punished, and now we're just going to act like it didn't happen.
I just want to get your thoughts on, with 3 minutes remaining in a 1-goal game, Detroit deciding, you know what, now is the time to pull the goaltender. They only needed one, but they took the big risk. Just what did you think of that as a coaching decision?
No, I mean, was it 3 minutes left in the game? Because I don't know how we were able to tell in an arena where the jumbotron and none of the clocks were working. Maybe I understand a little bit better why the Sixers are looking for a new arena. Just saying. That was
That's a great.
pathetic. It was pathetic and embarrassing, honestly. And like, I'm not saying this to like eviscerate Comcast, but like, you spend all this money on an arena, get your freaking jumbotron to work. Sorry.
That was, a lot of people online were very confused as to why they were hearing Lou Nolan every minute. I know at one point I was like putting something in the outline or typing a tweet, and I heard Lou. I was like, no fucking way. The period just what? No. And I was, oh no, he's not saying 1 minute left. He's just saying there's like another minute has gone by, basically. But I just thought that, like, to pull the goalie that early, it's an odd decision in a 1-goal game. But it was 57 minutes without a goal. It's not like it was a 1-goal, 5-4 game. Like, well, we'll probably get another one, Like, they hadn't scored at all. And the Flyers are so good defensively, so good man down, that teams need to take risks. And we talked earlier this week about how the Flyers force you to play their game and the Flyers make you uncomfortable. I thought this was another example of that tonight. Just like 3 minutes left. I don't know. Like, I guess we have to go for it now because, like, whatever. Last one, Charlie. It is now time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. So let us get to star number 3.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be surprised with any of these, because I think these were pretty straightforward 3 stars. The third star, I would say, Rasmus Ristolainen. I thought he was really, really good in this game. I thought, as I said earlier, that top pair really led the way. They were the driving force, I think, behind this victory in terms of the skaters. So Ristolainen, while I think York was the better of the two on the whole, he obviously scored the game-winning goal. Ristolainen was an integral part of why that duo succeeded. He deserves the third star as a result. By that same token, number 2 star, Cam York. Scored the only goal of the game. Definitely, took off the Travis Sanheim mantle in this one. I believe, I didn't check. Let me take a quick look. I think he led the team in ice time. Yeah, 23-13. Risto was 23-07. So he beat him by 6 seconds. So there you go. Cam York by 6 seconds had the most ice time on the team. So I will definitely give him 2nd star. Great game by Cam York. And then star number 1, it's the goalie who got the shutout, Sam Ersson. I thought, especially in the third period, he was stellar. They put a lot of pressure on him in those final 3 minutes after the goalie was pulled. The Flyers just could not get themselves to clear. So many failed clears over that stretch, and Ersson just stood tall and made the saves. They had a couple really big saves during that stretch right around the net. And, he's come up big all week, to be honest. I know he gave up the tied a week goal in Nashville, but they got a point out of that game. He kept them in it. And then these last 2 games, I thought he's played really well. They clearly have a quality backup to step in if and when Carter Hart is dealing with something. He's obviously dealing with his illness that he thinks he's got a better handle on. But 3 games this week that Ersson had to step in and basically be the starter, and he did a great job.
Outstanding. Those are Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars, and I know I said finally, but the sick thing. Is there just something going through the locker room? Like, they traveled a bunch, obviously time of year, weird weather. Like, I'm looking at very evenly distributed ice time tonight, and I'm thinking maybe it's like this team's kind of just worn down right now. Do you get that vibe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm worn down, and I've just been covering the team. So yeah, there's definitely something going through the locker room. Ryan Paling was sick. Sanheim's sick. I think there are quite a few other guys who are battling something. It's been a rough schedule. The trip was tough. They really haven't gotten like. It's not like they got a couple days when they got back to settle back in. It was day off and then we're playing. Like that was it. And I mean, it's been exhausting for me as well. I got pretty big bags over my eyes. I just want to sleep tomorrow. But yeah, the Hart thing is a little bit different because I did not go to morning skate today. I took the option. I was absolutely drained and exhausted, so I couldn't make it. Um, but apparently, Hart told the people who were there that this is something beyond just a cold. It apparently is some type of illness that he officially got diagnosed with this week. While his dad was there on the dad's trip, because the dad's trip was the Nashville trip, and then also they came back to Philly for the Thursday game. So they were there for that one. And Hart thinks he's got a better handle on it now. He thinks it's not going to recur because it seems like these recurring illnesses he's had this year have been the result of this underlying issue that they've now diagnosed and now they can work on. So I do think that there is something going through the team. I mean, I don't feel 100%. I probably have a bit of it. But the hard thing I suspect is something separate from that.
All right, Charlie, you go get your rest. You take some vitamins. You do what you got to do because I'm not scratching you. You know, like we're still gonna call your number if you're not feeling well. So we need you to take care of yourself on your off days. I will talk to you Monday, my friend.
All right. See you, Bill.
All right, take it easy, Charlie. That was Charlie O'Connor, Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter. And that little segment there, well, it was brought to you by our friends over at Rocket Money. I told you this. I told you this little anecdote a couple of games ago, but I think it's very relatable for a lot of people, especially Charlie was just talking. He mentioned the 2019-20 Flyers team and the like how the pandemic kind of tore them apart. I think a lot of people like during that time signed up for literally every streaming service, and I still have a bunch of them. My wife and I. Well, it was like recently we realized we've been double spending on Apple TV. Both of us had an account. Like we both have iPhones. There's probably something one of us wanted to watch at some point when the other wasn't home. Just signed up, didn't think the other had it, and then bang. We're getting charged double. And I realize it's just a couple of bucks, but a couple of bucks over however long stretches out, and it really, really adds up. And that's where Rocket Money comes in. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. I can see all of my subscriptions in one place, and if I see something I don't want, I can cancel it with a tap. I never have to get on the phone with customer service. They'll even try to get you a refund for the last couple of months of wasted money and negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Think about that. That's how quickly it can add up. I'm just saying, you don't want to be spending $500 million on subscriptions. Neither did anyone who canceled all these. Rocket Money would be for you. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/PHLY. That's rocketmoney.com/PHLY. rocketmoney.com/PHLY. I'm actually starting to dig the Rocket Money read with the over and over. Reading terminal. Yes, we'll discuss that in a minute. I did write that down, so I did not forget. Interesting stuff there from Charlie, though. Like I said, I think that pulling the goalie 3 minutes early thing is, I mean, it's a bold decision, and coaches, we know since Patrick Roy, coaches do it at different times now. It's not always just a minute, minute 20, minute 40. Like, I mean, Roy would do it. Like, I think he was just fucking around half the time, but like, like coaches have started to do it at different times. But in a 1-goal game, I actually thought that was a decent coaching decision because, like, if it's a shootout, like, it's 5-4, it's back and forth, chances nonstop. All right, in a minute 40, you might get a goal. And you might get one before the opportunity to pull your goalie. But when you've gone 57 minutes and haven't scored, it's like, what, are we going to get one in the last 3? I guess it's possible, but probably not. So let's just do it now. Fuck it. And I actually kind of appreciated that, and I really do think it speaks to what this Flyers team has been able to accomplish this year. Their D-zone structure, the way they limit high-danger chances, the goaltending they're getting, and how good they are man down. Like, yes, 6-on-5 is different from 5-on-4, but it's essentially a penalty kill. And Flyers real good on the PK. So I thought that was a pretty interesting move there. Like, bold move by the coach of Detroit, but spoke mostly to me to what the Flyers have been doing for the most part. Now I have to tell you about what we're doing this week. That's right. It's Tuesday at the Reading Terminal Market. It's December 19th. All of our shows will be live that way, as well as our national NFL show, all coming to you live from the Reading Terminal Market. It's going to be one of our first real opportunities to get out in the community, do the remote shows, be out amongst the people. And I got to tell you, I like my job when I was working at one of the local radio. You all know where I worked. One of the things I did there was set up the remote shows, the shows from locations outside the studio. That was one of the things I did. Got to go to a lot of really cool places. Reading Terminal Market's way up there, and like stuff I'm really looking forward to doing or having done. Like, I cannot wait to eat a DeNick's roast pork sandwich. I can't wait to try so many different things. Oh, it's the best. It's the freaking best. I cannot wait to do that. Like, we are on. Charlie and I are on at 1:00 on Tuesday. That's when you can come down if you want to see PHLY Flyers. You want to see me and Charlie live. We're on at 1 on Tuesday from Reading Terminal Market. But the festivities begin at 10. They run through the day. So anytime you get a lunch break, you get the chance. I know some people are out of school with the holidays. You want to come see us? Come check us out on Tuesday at Reading Terminal. It's going to be a really good time. Everything we've done so far at PHLY has been a success in terms of getting out in the community, meeting people, having a good time, spreading the brand awareness, and delicious food.
Eat some food.
Acres and acres of delicious food. I'm really looking forward to this one.
K-Red gave us his order right here.
Oh, yeah. Roast pork,
what's your order?
Rob, little sharp prove. I need some long hot too, but yeah, absolutely. I'm pumped for this one. I was like on their website the other night. I'm like, I haven't been in like a couple of years. I don't think I've been since like 2020. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. If you want to come check us out, me and Charlie are on at 1. Everything starts at 10 a.m. in terms of all the shows we're going to be doing. So make sure you come out and join us. I'm looking forward to it. If you can't find me, just like go to the DeNick's line. I bet you I'm standing there. It's like, where's Bill? We're on in 5. I'm like, yeah, but like I'm 5th in line. So can Charlie start and I'll just join? You know, like I start the post games without him. Why can't he start the regular show while I'm eating a sandwich? All right. I think that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Search PHLY Flyers wherever there are podcasts. Obviously, right here on the YouTube page. Never miss a live show. Set your alerts so you just get the notification when we go live. And what else? Oh, Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. Make sure you're following us there. I tweet some funny things now and then. But all of our announcements, links, everything, it's all up there. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. As Bill would say,
do the millennial things, guys.
Yeah, you know, Twitter, podcast, just like all the shit when you say it to your parents. They're like, what are you talking about? Anyway, all right, that'll do it for me. My name is Bill Matz. For Charlie O'Connor, have a great weekend, Philly.